stand by for action.
All right. Go. Get ready. Grab onto something. No, I'll put that down. That's nasty. And let's get this started. My name is Dave Milner, and I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy. This podcast is a result of a few years of my waffling, as people have told me I should do a show or a something. So this is the first attempt, and hope you guys like it, and hope I can bring something to you that you're not hearing every other place. So let's begin with who I am and what I'm doing here and why you should listen to me at all, because let's face it, who needs another conservative talk show? Okay. First of all, I'm not an author. Yes, I've written a few pieces that a few people have liked. I've made a few nice phone calls on a few other people's talk shows and things like that, and people have liked those too. So I'm known a bit out there, but I'm certainly not as well known as some of these other conservative commentators. I don't have talent on loan from God. I'm just a dude. I am an ordinary person who has experience of living with some of the things that, frankly, you guys are going to have to start living with, which is being a client of the government. I can kind of tell you guys firsthand what you're going to be experiencing, why it's not a good thing, and maybe some things that you can do that might help get through. All right? I am a believer in original intent as far as the Constitution goes. I don't think the Constitution is a fluid document to be interpreted for people who are familiar with Lady Gaga and the Internet. No, I think the Constitution was set up by people who had a very real experience of living with totalitarianism, and they wanted to set forth something that would protect future generations from that. So I'm not one of these people who believes that it's interpretable and so fluid that it can be tailored to whatever political hobby horse they want to tailor it to. And that mostly for a lot of people nowadays is socialism. That's kind of what I believe in. I do have some libertarian leanings, but no, I am not a strict libertarian. I am not encapsulated in an automobile usually when I go out. I go out on the street, and I talk to people. I dude people, I bro people, I say word, things like that. I'm very much an ordinary guy because those are the kind of people I hang out with, ordinary people. And in a big way, that's who I want this podcast to be aimed at, is ordinary people. I try to be a polite person, but I would feel far more out of place at a high-class cocktail party than I would at a keg party, even though I don't drink. I believe in the common man and in the worth and work and usefulness and production and contribution of the common man, because I'm one myself, and I value that, and I value them. And that kind of brings me to the why. I really do believe that the message of conservatism has to be brought to people whom it's not being brought to now. It has to be brought to ordinary people who don't really have time to watch a lot of news. They're not big Rush Limbaugh fans, or they're not big Hannity fans. They're not into the usual conservative message givers. And it may not necessarily be because they don't like them. It may just be because they don't have time. They have to work for a living. They have to try and do something to support their families. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about people who don't have a lot of time. And these people, some of them also don't quite fit the mold a lot of people have for conservatives. They're not old white guys who have no disabilities and are straight and, wear suits and this kind of thing. There are a lot of people out there who either live alternate lifestyles or who, are disabled or who are minorities of other kinds who believe in conservative principles or who would believe in them if they heard someone who was one of them espousing them. And that's me. I know what it's like to be treated as less than. I've experienced the soft bigotry of being told that I wasn't qualified for a job because they just didn't think I could handle it. All the way up to having someone call me a blind mother effer and smashing me in the face with their fist. So I know what it's like to be treated like a piece of crap. Okay? And people out there need to understand that there are conservatives who have had some of the same experiences they have. That's why I'm here. That's one of the big reasons I'm trying to do this, is to show them and to show everyone that you don't have to be rich. You don't have to have gone to Harvard or, some Ivy League university to understand that conservative core principles can work for you. They can work for everyone. All right? And that's just the basis of who I am, why I'm here, and things like that. You'll find out other things, some stuff you like and some stuff you won't, as time goes on. And that brings it into why I'm called the Unpleasant Blind Guy, or why I'm calling myself the Unpleasant Blind Guy. One reason was I'm trying to think of a title for this thing, and I didn't want to go for something obvious like, The Eagle Report, or, Conservatism Today, or some sort of generic thing like that. And my last name is Milner, and you would think that would be easy enough for people to remember, but people always mess it up. So I was trying to think of something, and some of the things I'm going to say in these podcasts are not going to be pleasant to hear for everyone. Some of the things my friends on the left are not going to want to hear. A lot of the things my friends on the left are not going to want to hear. Some of the things, a few of the things, my Christian friends aren't going to necessarily like a heck of a lot. Although, yes, I do believe in Jesus. A few of the things my libertarian friends aren't going to want to hear. Some of the things my traditional fiscal conservative friends aren't going to want to hear. Because don't march robotically to one drummer when it comes to all this stuff. All right? And it's not always pleasant to hear someone say things that you don't agree with. But I got to tell you guys, that some of my favorite radio talk show hosts that I listen to, it'd be like Dana Lash and Tammy Bruce and even some of the other ones like Small G Gay, occasionally say things I don't agree with. But I know that in their hearts, they're great Americans, so they're worth listening to. But yeah, sometimes the things they say and sometimes the things I'm going to say are unpleasant to hear. So, I'm calling myself the Unpleasant Blind Guy. Now, why do I even bother putting the blind thing in there? First of all, don't be afraid, okay? Not every show is going to be filled with me talking about, blind subjects, ooga booga. No, not going to be doing that. But sometimes it is easy to relate this into the kind of world that the rest of the United States is now being forced to step into. Okay? Blind folks have been living with the kind of government oversight that the rest of you guys are about to experience. It's starting, guys. And that's a big reason why I put that in there. Also, again, it's important for people to understand that, yes, people who are disabled are a minority in every sense of that word. And that, yes, conservative values can and do work for them as well. We want a place in society, but it's best when that place is earned. And the best path for that is conservatism. So that's why I am the unpleasant blind guy. And I hope you guys won't find what I have to say too unpleasant, but sometimes, I may not like it too much. I hope you'll keep on listening anyway. I'm going to try and keep this thing under half an hour because people have other things they like to do. They have other talk shows that they listen to and that sort of thing, and I really don't want to take up too much of people's time. But I'm going to cover the subject I need to cover and try and keep it pithy and maybe try and entertain a little bit. Maybe try and tell a few jokes. Those who know me from the days when I used to listen to Dennis Miller know that I like humor. Those who know me from the net know I like a little bit of humor. I think one of the most awesome exercises of power is the power to make people laugh. And fortunately, I'm able to do that over the net. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that here, but, I'm going to try and make things as fun as I can. Okay? So let's begin with something that's not fun. The gun debate. Yeah. Okay, so heard today Dianne Feinstein's wonderful theory that if her assault weapons ban is ever actually adopted, it'll dry up the supply of those evil, nasty, scary-looking assault rifles, which she pretty much knows nothing about. Well, first of all, that's not going to happen. First of all, and second of all, and all of all. Okay? Criminals, as we know, are not going to be affected by any of these gun laws. Criminals are no more going to turn in their guns if they pass this stuff than illegal aliens are going to learn English because they pass an amnesty bill. I mean, criminals don't do stuff they don't want to do. That's one reason they're criminals. Okay? The supply of weapons will not dry up. People need to remember that we already have well-organized small armies. Yes, I said it right. Small armies of people bringing drugs into this country. That's the cartels. And if the purchase of illegal firearms is made impractical or impossible for law-abiding citizens, they will turn to other sources. And the cartels have plenty of cash to start up their own business running guns north. And they have the means to do that. The smuggling routes are already there. So, Dianne Feinstein does not know a lot about a lot, and she knows the least about the supply chain that will open up if it's impossible for law-abiding citizens to buy weapons. And I want to hit on another little thing here. This Saturday's presidential radio address, President Obama is going to use a Newtown mother to do this. I'm beginning to think of this as the Cindy Sheehan effect. Now, nobody feels sorrier for these Newtown parents, these Sandy Hook parents, than I do. The whole thing was disgusting. After I heard about the Sandy Hook incident, I had to just shut the media off. and I'm usually pretty well plugged in during the day on a weekday, and listening to all the media and the Facebook and the Tweety and all that kind of stuff. I'm on all that. But when this happened, by the time about half an hour had passed, I just turned it off because I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand to hear about it. Hear all of these poor kids were dead. And what really disgusted me was the left immediately, even before these poor kids' bodies were cold, immediately began trying to make political hay out of it and work it for gun control. And Obama is continuing this by having this woman come and do the weekly presidential radio address. The fact that this poser of a president is using the bereaved parents of this horrific, murderous act is disgusting beyond belief. And as an ordinary guy, I have to say, this is one of the real reasons the left can never seal the deal with me, because they have no shame when it comes to these disgusting displays of promotion. They'll use children. They'll use bereaved parents. They'll use whatever they need to use and do whatever they need to do to get their message across. And it is just horrific. Okay? Now, let's talk about messages. Or rather, let's talk about messaging. Now, when I talk about the left, progressives, however you want to put it, I call them the mind masters, the truth twisters, the puppeteers, because they have brought social engineering through media, particularly traditional media, to a science. It would be a beautiful thing to watch if it wasn't so insidious. And I'm going to talk about something that almost no one else has talked about, and that's taking back blue. Now, what does that mean? People who are a little bit older can remember watching election nights, and all of the states that were conservative or Republican used to be blue. Now they're red. Now, why is that? And why is it important? Okay. I don't know who began the switch around. Who began saying, okay, well, no, conservative or Republican states have to be red now. But it was adopted almost instantly. And I can even remember one network commentator, I wish I could remember who it was, saying, well, why are these states that are voting for the Republicans red? I mean, shouldn't the states voting for Democrats be red? I mean, isn't that kind of the Democrat color? And it's worth mentioning because, remember, as I said, the left are the mind masters, the truth twisters, the puppeteers. And I'll get into why I call them the mind masters or where I get that from, maybe another time. What was done was red is now associated with conservatism. And what is the color red associated with? It's associated with stopping. It's associated with danger. It's associated with blood. It's associated with evil. It's associated with something wrong. Now, what's blue associated with? Blue is associated with the sky. Blue is associated with something beautiful. Blue is associated with good things. Red's associated with bad things. See what's going on? And this is the kind of thing that happened overnight. Almost no one noticed it. And the thing is, the right accepted it. The right didn't say, hey, wait a minute. Blue is ours. In fact, there's even a conservative website that has a lot of news stories and things. Now it's called Red State. The right just, fell right in and accepted it. And that's what I need to caution people about. All right? And no, I'm not going to do the Bill O'Reilly thing. Caution! No, I'm not going to do that. But I need to caution people about falling into the trap or traps that the left lays. Okay? And they fell right into this one. The left will lay psychological traps for the right all the time. They do this stuff all the time. And the fact that now conservative states and Republican states are red states is just one. Now, a lot of people might think this is a small thing. Okay? But when you think about the associations that go along with it and the feelings that go along with those associations, people don't want to be associated with something that's bad, or something that's associated with blood, or something that's associated with stopping. Okay? If you're associated with blue, well, that's great. If you're at Kmart, that's a blue light special. All right? If you're outside, that's the sky. It's great. Okay? Associations can actually turn into votes. Yes. So while this may not seem like a big issue to some people, it actually is. And in this case, the right fell right into it like the punji stick-filled hole that it is. Okay? Now let's move on to the next thing. It's been a hell of a week. Margaret Thatcher is gone. Lech Walesa is pretty much the last one of the giants who knocked down social communism in the 1980s. He's pretty much the last one left of those people. Now, Baroness Thatcher, and yeah, you'll find that I usually don't go along with this, royalty BS, because I'm an American. But there are a few exceptions, and I think Baroness Thatcher deserves every honorific that she's ever been given. Baroness Thatcher was a person who helped free thousands of ordinary people in Europe. And yes, I mean thousands of ordinary people in the street from the yoke of communism, from a system that wouldn't even let them speak out about things they didn't like about the government without being tossed in a prison or something. Okay. Margaret Thatcher was part of all of that. And to see her go was a sad thing. It was more sad, though, to see how some Brits, not all, but how some Brits have reacted to this. Now, you've got some, and these are socialist. Let's be frank about this. And yeah, hey, I'm the unpleasant blind guy, so here it comes. All these people are socialist a-holes. Okay, they're gonna line the streets for her procession as they're going to lay her to rest and turn their backs on the coffin. Basically acting like a bunch of 2-year-olds when it comes to this stuff. Pretty disgusting. I mean, if you didn't like the woman and she's dead, fine. Okay? Be happy with that. And the rest of the time, show a little bit of class. I mean, okay, now, did I go out and get an ice cream when I heard that, Hugo Chavez died? Yes, I did. Because he was an ass. But I didn't have a Hugo Chavez is dead party. Okay? And there is no way, even if I had the power to disrupt his funeral, there's no way I would have done it. Because you have to show a little bit of class, because if you don't, that does not make your side look good. Whatever you're trying to promote, if you're out there acting like a jerk, that's what people are going to see. Okay? And that's what you don't want to do. So, all I have to say to the Brits that are planning to make these demonstrations at Baroness Thatcher's funeral is, guys, get some class. And if you don't want to get some class, you no longer have privilege to say anything about what Americans do in our country. Dana Lash is quite right about this one. Don't talk about us and our Second Amendment or anything of that nature. Kindly keep your face holes closed. Okay? If you're going to act that way. If you're going to try and tell other people to be classy, try and be classy yourselves. You give it a shot. And speaking of classlessness, our own wonderful Democratic Party here in the United States Senate blocked a resolution honoring Baroness Thatcher. And, this once again just shows that the left simply has no class. And class really is important, as I've just pointed out. And I really hope that since the House is controlled by Republicans, that they grow at least a BB-sized pair, and maybe have a resolution in the House honoring Baroness Thatcher. I really hope they do. Now we'll see if they do or if they don't. I don't know, because Republicans are pretty weak these days, and I think Glenn Beck's right. I think the Republicans are the Whigs, pretty much. But kind of encourage Republicans in the House. Yeah, come on, guys. Have a resolution honoring one of the people who helped knock down Soviet communism and free thousands of people in Europe. How about that? Yeah, you want to do that? That'd be cool. Okay. Next is passing of another, great person, not in politics, but someone that anyone who likes comedy should definitely know about and appreciate, and that's Jonathan Winters. I heard today that he's gone. Now, if there's some young people out there and they've never seen any of Jonathan Winters' stuff, his comedy is very unique to him. He was a big inspiration to Robin Williams, and there's probably all sorts of Jonathan Winters stuff on YouTube. I highly recommend people go and look at some of it. He was a funny man, and the world is a little bit sadder now that he's gone. So I just want to say all condolences to his family, and check out some of his stuff on YouTube. I'm sure it's out there. And now going from a classy lady and a classy comic to a completely classless. Well, I really don't want. Not even I, who can be pretty crass sometimes, want to call this woman what I want to call her. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do you the favor of not doing that. You, the audience, I'm going to do you the favor. This story, don't know what city this happened in, but this just popped up on Twitter not too long before I started this recording. And the headline is woman. Basically, the woman was on a city bus, and began getting in an argument with another woman. And woman A, let's call her, had her baby in her. It looked to me like she had her baby in her lap. Okay, and she was arguing with woman B. Now, woman A started asking people to take her baby so that she could fight with woman B. Okay, now this is going on a city bus, and yes, somebody's videoing it. So, the video goes on for a little bit, and then suddenly, woman A throws her baby aside and goes to fight the woman. The only thing you can say about this, really, is just, what the hell, people? I mean, what kind of a society have we turned into when this sort of thing can happen? All right. I mean, this kind of thing just goes to the very morals and things that a lot of people talk about. And it's beyond shocking. It's just as if some people don't give a crap. Okay, it's terrible. And that's just the kind of thing that's going around out on the street. It speaks to a moral decline that really doesn't have much to do with religion and has everything to do with personal responsibility. Okay? It's the same sort of moral decline that causes only one of 5 networks that could have covered the Gosnell trial. If you guys haven't heard about the Gosnell trial, you really need to look this up. Okay? Spelled Gosnell. This is a guy who ran an abortion shop and, who performed his own after-birth abortions. Yeah. Babies were born, and the guy killed the babies after they were born. Okay, now he's on trial at this point, but almost no one in old media, when I say old media, I mean the news networks and cable news and things like that, has said anything about it. You've heard about it. There's some people have heard about it on talk radio and things like that. There was all of one mention last night on Special Report with Brett Baer, and that was on Fox News. One lousy, stinking mention. That was it. Nothing else. Now, this goes to what I'm talking about with the morals. Okay? The leftist news organizations are so in the tank at this point for all of the leftist movement that they're ignoring stories that might make that movement look bad. Okay? This is a huge story, and you're hearing nothing from the networks. I encourage you guys to look up this Gosnell story because it is absolutely the most disgusting thing you'll hear. I mean, even people who are for abortion find this whole thing, just extremely disgusting. Now, I'm going to go for one last story, and it's a story that hopefully, after that story about the woman on the bus, will kind of renew your faith in humanity a bit. And that's difficult to do these days, all right, because it really does seem like if you look at the media and what they put out, it really does seem like we're just jerks. There aren't any good people left. Greg Gutfeld did a joke and said, yeah, America is Paris Hilton. I beg to disagree. Actually, I don't beg to disagree. I friggin' disagree. All right? We're not narcissistic, street-medicated, moronic, self-centered sociopaths. That's not the kind of people that Americans are. Tammy Bruce characterizes this is who we are. She tries to find stories, and then she says, this is who we are. Now, I agree with doing things like that because too often we're led to believe that we're like Paris Hilton or even that woman who threw her baby on the bus. Too often we're told that we're not good people. We're told that as a society, America is bad, and as individuals, we aren't good either. So I'm going to try each week, because I'm going to try and make this a weekly podcast thing. I'm going to try each week to find one story that proves this wrong. Now, Gutfeld was joking when he said what he did, but far too many people are buying into this. This is another one of these leftist psychological traps that people fall into. Because if you think about it, if you begin believing that individuals are bad, then you look to something for good. And for the left, that's the state. Okay? And the story I've got this week, actually it was found or was spoken about by Bob Beckel, who usually I consider a scrofulous toad, but he actually did bring up this very good story. And I want to share it if you haven't heard about it. It's very cool. There is video of this online that you can find. All right. This is out of Lincoln, Nebraska. 7-year-old kid named Jack Hoffman became the star of a Cornhuskers spring game this weekend. And it was very cool to watch. He ran a 69-yard touchdown. Along with the rest of the Cornhuskers, helping him out, in a real formation. Kid goes across the goal line. The Cornhuskers put him on their shoulders. Extremely cool. This happened in front of a stadium of 60,000 people. This kid that has brain cancer, it was a wonderful thing to do for him. This is the kind of people Americans are. The kind of people that are in Lincoln, Nebraska. The kind of people, 6,000 of whom in a stadium will scream their heads off for this kid getting his dream. The kind of people who produce college football players that help this kid out. This is the kind of wonderful, awesome individuals Americans really are. Not Paris Hilton, the people of Lincoln, Nebraska. That's the kind of people we are. Okay? That, hopefully, is the kind of story that can take you through the week, take you into the weekend, a little bit further into the weekend, and kind of help you get through a bit, because one thing's for sure, the left is not going to tell you that we're good people. Okay? I want to give a shout out real quick to some very good friends that have helped me along the way. I've sort of kept this whole show thing under wraps that I'm starting here, but I want to give a shout out to the new media people. Okay, the people who have inspired me to do this kind of thing. Good Americans, people who are patriots, and who are using the net to bring the message of conservatism to everyone. I'm talking about Pat Carfagno and Anna B., who host The Shrew. Very good program. That's on Blog Talk Radio, and I encourage people to partake of The Shrew. Yes, that's on Fridays. And on Wednesdays, I encourage people to listen to Tim Phillips, Sergeant Tim, doing Freedom Radio on Blog Talk Radio. This show has as good a guest and covers as serious issues as you will hear on any one of the big on-air radio talk shows. It's well worth your time. Comes on a Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio. And there's finally Small G Gay. Now, I want to talk to you guys out there that may not like gay people for some reason or other. And you know who you are. Okay? I mean, you won't say it openly, but you don't want to listen to a gay guy. Small G Gay is one of the best defenders of our Constitution that I've heard. And I've been observing politics since 1968, so don't tell me I don't know someone who's good at this stuff. All right? He's a great defender of the Constitution of the United States, and he proves that one size does not fit all in conservatism. Now, he does a nightly show on weeknights and on Saturdays right now on Blog Talk Radio. And his show, Freedom Radio, and The Shrew, they're all available on podcast if you can't hear them at their regularly scheduled showtimes. All those are available, and I highly recommend that you listen to those. And these are the kind of people that have inspired me, along with all the people from the Dennis Miller Show who I used to listen to, and have contact with, all those great people from the Dennis Miller message boards, and people from other places, other conservatives from Twitter. All these people all deserve a mention because they are an inspiration to me, and I just hope that from now on I can be a small inspiration to them, and hope that I can be a little bit more entertaining the next time. I hope I did a little bit for you this time, and I hope I can do a little bit more next time. I want to thank you for listening. If you want to contact me, if you have a comment, a question, a suggestion, something of that nature, all right, you can do that on Twitter. That's at UGB Contact. That's Unpleasant Blind Guy Contact on Twitter. Again, that's at UBG Contact. @ UBG Contact on Twitter. If you have a show suggestion, comment, question, if you want to tell me I'm awesome, yeah, I like that too. No. Seriously, if you have anything you want to say about the show, please say it there. And once again, thank you for listening. God bless America. Bye-bye.